Just doing a little flexion. Alright, I got this idea for this video. My brother that asked me about this topic. Posted in the comments and asked me about it today. So how's that for fast turnaround? Speedy service and the like. Take this off. Now I can't see it. I can't see shit now. Now I can't see shit. Alright. So what he wanted to know was what to do, or if I have any recommendations or experience with just not having the enthusiasm, the drive, the get up and go, the motivation. And sometimes it's a physical thing. Sometimes not even getting to the gym, not even getting the pump, and you're just not feeling it that day. You're just not feeling it. What to do. Well, first, you're talking about, or we're considering two different types of events here. One is an actual physical event. There's some kind of deficit going on there, deficient in something. If you're not getting a pump, and this has only happened to me literally, like probably, I think I can almost count on my one hand, like maybe 5 times, maybe not even 5 times that's ever happened to me. And that's because I despise that so much, because, you know, I chase the pump. I don't know any successful, and success being defined as achieving the physique that they're after, or the amount of muscle they're trying to build. I don't know any successful, in that regard, bodybuilder that doesn't chase the pump. That pump, you'll have some people will tell you, try to tell you, they're not going to tell me anything of the like, but they'll try to tell you that the pump doesn't have any correlation with muscle growth, and pump doesn't really matter, and all this shit. The pump is critical. The pump is mandatory. It's not just my opinion. It's fact. It's reality. It's true. It bears itself out in all the anecdotal evidence and circumstances and displays you'll ever live to see or experience. But now, science always catches up to what's actually happening. You know, because they see it happen, they observe it happen, hear about it so much that they say, "Oh, this might be worth looking into. How is this happening?" And then they look into it. So now science confirms, or has for a few years now, that the pump, or what we call the pump, is critical. No pump, no muscle growth. No pump, no real muscle growth. No pump, no real muscle growth. So those out there that they don't care about the pump, well, all right, that's fine. If you don't care about all that extra hypertrophy you're missing out on, then that's fine and dandy. And just because they tell you they don't care about the pump doesn't mean they don't get a pump or they haven't experienced a pump. So they could still be benefiting from it. What the pump represents, they know this from dealing with muscular dystrophy patients and studying what's going on there. The muscle wasting effect of the disease, and how they can try to thwart that or slow that down or blunt that. And you know, they found things that work. Cialis, trade name, tadalafil citrate, right? That drug, they used that with muscular dystrophy patients that had Becker's MD, and they found that they were suddenly able to get a pump. And so what they figured from that, they could get the pump, so now that they could get the pump, now they could stave off some of the muscle wasting, some of it, stave some of it off, slow it down. And they were able to figure out that what the Cialis was doing was it enabled them to actually uptake. It allowed the ability for them to uptake the NO2, the nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gas, by the way. You can't take a nitric oxide product. When you're talking about nitric oxide products, you're talking about precursors. You can't take nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gas. You can take precursors. And they work, they're useful. But the thing that they suspected with muscular dystrophy patients in general was that they couldn't achieve a pump because they didn't manufacture nitric oxide. No nitric oxide means no muscle growth. The pump is an effect of the presence of nitric oxide. So even though, yeah, you're flushing the muscle with blood and it's glycogen's got a lot to do with it, et cetera, all of those things can be in good supply. If you don't have any nitric oxide, or you have some kind of disability or something that precludes you from being able to experience the uptake of the nitric oxide that you have, or that you don't produce it, you're not going to get a pump. None of that other shit's going to matter. So that's very interesting. There's a whole lot of things that have to happen. Nitric oxide is a must-have. So the whole point to getting off track and explaining all that is pump is critical. So when I get in the gym, the few times I haven't gotten a pump, I don't even feel like working out then, because I feel like I'm just, my brakes are basically metal to metal. If I'm not getting a pump, my brakes are like metal to metal. I'm just doing more damage. I'm certainly not building muscle. So I'm out of there. If I can't get a pump, then that's time to get out of there. So why wouldn't I be able to get a pump? Well, I'm undernourished. Glycogen reserve's not there. Nitric oxide is always going to be there. I produce nitric oxide, but I may not be putting the materials in. I may not be putting the micronutrients in. I may not be hydrated well enough. Something's going on that all these things that are required aren't present at the same time to achieve the pump. Take nitric oxide out of the equation, no pump. So glycogen, well-hydrated muscle, you're flushing it with blood, all these other things, stimulus from flushing it with blood, all these other things are requisite as well, but the nitric oxide has to be there. So if I'm not going to get a pump, then I need to look at, or I would suggest that you need to look at, where are you falling short nutritionally? What aren't you getting into your body? Are you not getting, are you taking a multivitamin? And again, it's a basic thing, and of course I have to recommend Sport Formula, and I need to make some videos talking about, they have a whole new line of products now. They have vegan products, they have a whole new line of products now, besides, or to go alongside their Sport Formula, Formula 99, their powdered vitamin supplement. It's more than a vitamin supplement. It's an insult to call it a vitamin supplement, but to me, everything else that it does is all extra beneficial stuff. I take it because out of all of the multis I could take, it's the best. It's the best, and I absorb more of that than I do by far than any other thing I've ever used. So any other additional benefit that comes my way from it, which there are several, it's just all icing on the cake. But it's so good in and of itself as a multi that that's enough justification for me to constantly use it, and I put it in my pre-workout all the time. All the time. I take it daily, and I certainly use it in my pre-workout. So a lot of folks might tell you do not need a multivitamin if you have a complete diet and all this, but in today's world, if you know anything about all these environmental endocrine disruptors and all the crap and poison and toxins and every other thing and what we've done to the planet and the environment, you need a multi. You need a multi. Every person needs a multi, especially men, especially for men's health. They need a multi. Women, you're going to need multis too, because most of you guys don't have a complete diet. You really don't. Not really. You got to worry about those micronutrients. We're all caught up worrying about macros. We forget about the micros. The micros, that can add up to a huge deficiency, critical deficiency. All right, so if I couldn't get a pump, that's what I'd be looking at. I'd be looking at what's falling short from my diet. Am I not getting enough water? Am I not well enough hydrated? Am I not getting enough water? And then I refer to my urine stream. Literally, what's it look like, man? If it looks like Coca-Cola or tea or something, man, that's emergency situation there. I know people that their piss is brown, basically. And if that's the case, dude, you should be losing sleep about that. You need to clear that up. All right, you're not gonna get it clear. Now, if you drink coffee and you drink a lot of water in the day, it may appear pretty much clear. sometimes, but you're really shooting for just a very pale, light yellow. It's good to go. Good to go. So, are you well enough hydrated? Most people are not, especially during these summer months, these hot months. You have your multivitamin on board. Is the diet sufficient? Do you have enough carbs? Are you taking in any carbs? What's your carbohydrate intake looking like? What's your body making this glycogen out of? If you're using Karbolyn pre-workout, you ain't gonna have that problem. So I like the Karbolyn. Now, yeah, if you're running keto, then you're probably not gonna want to take a whole bunch of Karbolyn, because I would recommend enough Karbolyn to enjoy, what's considered an adequate insulin spike, because you want to use that hormone to drive the nutrients where you want them to go. So pre-workout, Karbolyn, minimum of 75 grams. Get that insulin spike in there. And I've gone into this thoroughly. I'm not going to spend 10 minutes just explaining how that works, what all it does. If you want to know, just look at any of my pre-workout videos. Next thing, are you getting significant rest? Are you able to recover? Are you sleeping? Do you get any sleep? Or are you burning the candle at both ends? You're burning yourself ragged. If you're running yourself ragged, not only should you get some sleep, but refer to the other pieces of advice I've just given you. Get your multi on board, get your hydration up there. Diet, good diet. Now the other side of the coin, and if you're not getting a pump, take a day off, man. Take a day, take a two. If you're really burned out and overtrained, which means you're undernourished for what you're expecting your body to do with that nutrition that you're feeding it, how far you're expecting to be able to go. If you're undernourished like that, overworked, take a week off, man. Take a week off, get rested, get slept, feed up, feed up, eat, hydrate, take a rest, man. Take a week. If I feel like complete shit physically, I'll take time off. So that's one aspect of the game. Now the other thing we're looking at is psychologically. Is your heart in it? Is your mind in it? If your heart and your mind's not in it, it's primarily about mindset. I try to get into that mindset that every day I do the things that I need to do, just like I brush my teeth in the morning. I'm going to eat what I need to eat. I'm going to be well hydrated. None of these things are going to elude me throughout the day. I'm going to take my Sport Formula, as my multi, and then some. I'm going to do all those things. And when it's time for me to work out, although I prefer to be revved up about it and I prefer to be driven and passionate about it, I don't need to be. It's just a life choice. It's a life choice, every single day I'm not like, well, now I got this time off for this injury, but other than that, every single day that I get up in the morning and go to work, I'm not always rushing out of here like looking forward to the work day. I'm not always looking forward to getting up in the morning and turning wrenches on cars yet another day of my life, or trucks or whatever have you, after 30 plus years of doing it as a profession. But then again, there are some days that I do feel like that. Everything's right. I'm running on all 8 cylinders. I feel good. My brain's feeling good. And I'm looking forward to it, and I get into it. I enjoy the challenge, figuring things out. There are days that I'm digging it. I'm in there, just everything's falling into place because my mind's in the right spot. There are days that I'm still enjoying it. If there were no days I enjoyed it, I would find something else to do. So it is with my training. I don't need, to get up and get out and go do the things I need to do in the gym or in the garage, train at home, which now I'm more down with training at home now since the coronavirus thing. I don't even care about going back to the gym, to tell you the truth. I really don't. I don't need to be all revved up about it. I don't need to be, I will use some caffeine pre-workout, not mad amount, maybe 200 grams. The max I'll take would be 250 grams. And that's going to wind me the hell up. That winds me up. I ain't taking no more than that, but that winds me up. I will do that. It's a diuretic, though I'm well hydrated. I know that. It's a stimulant. I'm okay with all that. So I will do that, not every time, but most of the time in my pre-workout. So I do get a little boost from that when I partake. But I don't really need, you know what I'm saying? I will go out there. I know I need to go out there and do it just like I got to get up and go to work. On a work day, I need to get out there and train when it's time to train. Now, I also am very liberal in awarding myself a day off. If, I make sure over the course of the week, everything gets trained. It needs to get trained as much as it needs. And I'll go harder sometimes than others per workout if I need to make up for things or if I need to extend some things out. In other words, if I'm not going to train as much that week, then I'm going to train harder. If I'm because I'll be able to recover. But there's just a certain amount. There's a certain amount of damage, a certain amount of stimulus that I'm needing to provide and deliver to my body overall, from a muscular standpoint, muscularity standpoint, and the central nervous system too. Keep everything firing along. Keep those neurological pathways well laid. But then I have to be able to recover. And that's why I do all the other things that I do to be able to recover appropriately. And occasionally you can turn the dial up, and you can work out a lot more frequently. But then you pay for that. Then eventually you're going to have to take a couple days off to catch up from that. Now you can get away with that for a little bit. You can stomp it to the floor here or there once in a while. Overall, generally, I work my whole body over the course of the week completely one time. Sometimes because there's overlap between body parts, and I train with that perspective in mind because adjacent body parts going from insertion to insertion, I believe, and it seems to bear out that I can achieve better separation and delineation by using that kind of an approach, and that leaves some parts of my body to actually really be working more than once a week. But it's an overall feel. I know what it needs to feel like. I know where I need to be. I know what I've done. I know where I'm at. All that based on experience and just instinct now. Well-earned and well-honed instinct. But no, I'm not always super enthused about it. It's just something I have to do. That's my point of view. It's part of maintenance. It's what I got to do. If it's time to change the oil in the car, if it's time to put brakes on the car, whatever have you, if it has to be done, it has to be done. I'm going to do just as good of a job. The quality of the job is going to be the same. Whether I'm enthused about doing it and I'm loving it, or whether I'm just I don't really feel like doing it, but I have to do it. And so that carries over into my workouts. I'm the same way. But how do you get really motivated if you need that? Man, there's so many things you need to do. The pump thing is going to be an all physical thing. It's all health stuff. That's all due diligence. Someplace things are falling short. There's a link missing in the chain. You got to find it to prevent that from happening. If you're not feeling it to that extent, just get out of the gym. Pump-wise. But if you really need to be motivated and geared up to get in there and do it, if you're still at that point, or you need that for you, then you're just going to have to look other places. Do you listen to music when you work out? Do you have some kind of MP3 player or something with headphones? Or earphones or whatever. I like that. Of course, in the garage, I don't have to do that. I can play the stereo, or I can use my headphones, and I'll do either one, my earphones. But try to find, make yourself basically a mix of stuff that's going to get you revved up, stuff that's going to motivate you, stuff that's going to drive you. Shit that if you have it in your ears, banging in your ears, and you turn it up, you can't sit still. You're going to have to, boom, 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 drive, get driven, drive yourself. Visualize, dude. Just like back in Arnold spoke about pumping iron. Visualize. You look at your biceps when you're doing a curl, man. See what those biceps are going to become. See what you're doing to those biceps. See them in the future. See what's in their future. See where this is leading. Visualize. Visualize. I mean, you can take that to whatever extent you need to take it to. You can, whatever that music is, that should be the soundtrack to whatever your visualization is, man. You put on some Viking shit. You're a Viking. Whatever. You're a barbarian, whatever the case may be, whatever you need to be, man. You're some kind of Moorish warrior, or you're on the Scottish Highlands, or whatever the case may be. Whatever it takes, wherever you can find it, but it's still coming from within you, man. It's still within you. It's still within you. You're making it up, man. You got heart, you got brain. So that's what I would say. Find that motivation. Find it. What motivates you? What motivates you, man? What do you want? Why do you want to work out? Why do you even want to bother to work out? Are you just trying to stay alive? I respect that, if that's all there is to it, but is there more? Is there more? If you're just trying to stay alive, envision where you're going to be in 10 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever the case may be. That you're not going to deteriorate. You're not going to grow old gracefully. You're going to rail against the dying of the light, man. You're going to persevere. You're going to thrive. Make that gym your bitch. Those weights are your bitch. You're at war, man. You're fighting gravity. You're at war with the physical realm, the reality of this physical realm here. It's physics, man. You are fighting gravity. Gravity is this dragon you're trying to slay, man. Gravity is trying to keep you from doing it. Gravity is whispering in your ear, just put it down, man. Make life easy on yourself. Just put it down. You understand where I'm going? Whatever it takes, whatever you got to visualize, whatever you got to think about, do it. Drive. Drop that hammer, man. But I find music to be a big motivator, man. Music's the soundtrack of your life. I like that. I get a lot of motivation from music. I guess that's about all I can say. Other than that, if you're going through a depression or something like that, and there's more to it than just needing to be motivated for your workout, if you're not happy in the world, that workout, that time you spend there with those, your ears plugged up with that music or whatever you're choosing to be that soundtrack, your personal soundtrack, something speaks to you. Well, that's pounding in your brain. During that time, man, that world is yours. You are in full control. You are the Lord and master of that world, that realm of you. You are in control of you, no matter what your circumstances are externally. Right then and there, you're in control. You're making all the judgments. You're calling all the shots. So get out there and do it, man. Get out there and get yours. Do it for you, not for anybody else. Although, if there's motivation in that, if you've got a family to look out for, if you've got kids that look up to you, if you have people you need to protect, you can see, that you are that firewall. Whatever you have to think about, you think about that, and you find that motivation. Find that motivation. If you need that motivation, it's out there. It's in huge supply. You just have to find it and grab it. I don't know. Hope that helps some, man. Let me know if it does. I'm heading in. I don't want to make this too long. People don't tend to watch these long videos. You guys take care. Have an awesome evening.